Welcome to Lesson 1 in Unit 7, Patterns in the Sky. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, what are patterns and cycles? In this lesson, students are introduced to patterns and where they can be found. Students figure out that patterns are repeating shapes, events, or happenings. Repeated patterns are called a cycle, and cycles or patterns can be observed and predicted. Patterns are important because they are used by scientists as evidence to describe phenomena. Students make connections to the storyline by describing how patterns are important in helping scientists understand phenomena. This will set students up for examining patterns in the day and nighttime sky. There are several opportunities for ELA and math cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 7 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 5 days to complete. You'll begin the unit by introducing the anchoring phenomenon to students. You'll ask them questions about what they see in the daytime sky and if they are familiar with the word prediction. You can post and discuss the prediction vocabulary card. Be sure to see the noted opportunity to attend to equity should the provided anchoring phenomenon not be compelling for your students. Students will find the anchoring phenomenon more compelling if they can connect to it personally. If you want to change the anchoring phenomenon for your context, keep the following questions in mind. Is it going to be relevant to my students' lives and/or particularly engaging to them? Is it going to motivate students to want to explain patterns in the daytime sky, patterns in the nighttime sky, how light reflects off a surface, and that you can only see objects when they are illuminated? You'll then tell students that you're going to go outside to observe the daytime sky and ask them if they know what it means to make observations. You can post and discuss the observation vocabulary card. Before going outside, you'll show students the Daytime Sky Observation Student Journal page. You'll then take students outside and allow them 10 to 15 minutes to record their observations. You'll then bring them back inside to discuss their observations and questions. You'll ask students what they noticed about the daytime sky. You'll allow them to turn and talk to discuss their observations. As students are sharing their observations, you'll provide them with the sentence stem, "Now I'm wondering about," to model how we can use observations to develop questions. Once students have their questions, you will guide them in creating the driving question board, using the steps provided in the teacher guide. Here are some examples of driving question boards from other K-5 units. They depict the students' questions in categories, some along with a drawn model from the unit. Some driving question boards are simple lists of questions or groups of sticky notes posted on chart paper. Teachers and students can manipulate and move around questions and label categories together. You'll then ask students what they think it means to investigate and what they think a pattern is. You'll allow students to turn and talk, then share a few answers with the whole class. You can post and discuss the pattern and investigate vocabulary cards. For the explore portion, you'll gather students on the carpet. You'll then hold up the picture of the bicycle from the cycle cards in the MySci kit. You'll ask some questions about cycles and tell students they'll be investigating some other cycles. You can post the cycle vocabulary card. You'll then put students into groups and give each group one of the cycle cards. You'll have students work in their groups to identify the patterns they notice on the card. Once identified, you'll have students discuss the cycles. For the explain portion, you'll invite students to gather in a circle and share their observations around patterns. You'll use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, what are patterns and cycles? The goal of this class discussion is to share the patterns and cycles they identified. They will describe what patterns are and why scientists use them. You'll use the discussion to begin filling out the Unit 7 pattern chart. By the end of the discussion, students should understand that we can find patterns in shapes, colors, nature, or in our everyday lives. Cycles are patterns that repeat themselves. They will be able to draw a visual representation of a pattern. During the discussion, you'll read pitter-pattern. Be sure to use the Read Aloud Guide to help students synthesize ideas about patterns. For the Elaborate portion, you'll put students into groups of 2 and pass out the Unifix cubes from the kit. You'll model the first activity for the students by making a pattern of 1 yellow and 1 black cube, repeating. You'll then ask students to describe the pattern you make. You'll then have students use the top of the Pattern Page student journal page to record the patterns they make on their own. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students complete the quick check on the bottom of the Pattern Page student journal page. To support student sense-making across the unit, you'll orient them back to the driving question board. You'll ask students, what did we learn about patterns and cycles? And what new questions do we have? By the end of the lesson, students will have made and used observations of everyday phenomena in order to identify and predict patterns, and asked questions about patterns in the daytime sky. In Lesson 2, students will begin to observe and analyze patterns in the daytime sky. The Extend activity is aligned to a Missouri standard. If you are a Missouri teacher, this activity should be taught. If not, it can be optional. You can use the calendar in your classroom to track the weather as students complete this unit. After 2 weeks to a month of tracking the weather, you'll have students look for patterns in the data. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.